Ese was not like other women on her streets in Benin City, while other new wives were learning how to cook their husband's favorite soup or trying to impress their in-laws. Ese would sit like a queen on the cushion with her eyes glued to the TV, watching her favorite TV show, Telemundo. That Spanish drama channel was her oxygen. She watched it like her destiny was hidden somewhere between Alejandro's kiss and Isabella's betrayal. Whether it was Heart of Fire or Forbidden Passion, Ese would sit from morning till night with her wrapper loose and one leg on the table, shouting at the characters like they owed her rent. No, Maria, don't kiss him. He's your sister's husband, she would scream, pointing at the TV like she was a part of the show. Telemundo made her blood boil. She would cry for Isabella, get angry for Camila, and laugh with Alejandro. She even started using words like mi amor, por favor, and gracias, as if she grew up in Mexico. One day, she even tried to change her husband's name in her phone to Ricardo. Ese, why is my name showing as Ricardo on Truecaller? Odion asked one night. Ese smiled sweetly. Because you remind me of him. Odion was shocked. But the Ricardo in that show is a cheating murderer. Ese rolled her eyes. Yes, but he's still romantic. Odion had given up. At first, he tried to stop her madness. He hid the remote, but she downloaded the Telemundo app on her phone. He locked the decoder in the wardrobe, but she borrowed her neighbor's decoder. He even disconnected the lights one time, but Ese sat outside with a power bank and earpiece, watching The Maid's Revenge like it was the evening news. At this point, the thing that could stop Ese from watching Telemundo does not exist. Their marriage had become like akara left overnight, cold and heavy. Odion was a hard-working mechanic. Every day, he fixed cars under hot sun, returned home with black oil on his hands, and hoped to hear, "Welcome, my husband," and eat good food. Instead, he would meet the smell of burnt food and Ese shouting, "Alejandro, you lied! You told Isabella she was the only one." One day, Odion came home tired and hungry. Ese, did you cook? She didn't answer. He moved closer. Ese, I said, did you cook? But still, he got no reply. He shouted, Ese. She finally turned to him with tears in her eyes. They just stabbed Camila and you are asking me about food? Is that all that matters to you? Odion looked around. There was no soup or rice, just Telemundo and wrapper. He had to prepare noodles for himself that night. Their neighbors too noticed and gossiped about her. Mama Chooks whispered to Mama Sheyi, "This Ese girl no go last for that marriage o. She dey behave like person wey dem train for inside TV." Odion was tired, but he hoped she would change one day. One early morning, before leaving for work, he tried again. Ese, please, just cook something small before I come back, even if it is spaghetti. Ese smiled. I will. They are not showing anything serious today, just flashbacks. However, that evening, when Odion returned home, she welcomed him with a sad face. What happened? He asked. Ese shook her head. They lied to Isabella. The baby is not Alejandro's. What about my food, Ese? You are asking me about food when a whole woman was lied to for 6 episodes? Odion shook his head, ignored her and went into the kitchen. Even though Ese was still a new wife, the kitchen was now a strange place to her. The pots had dust. The plates were always clean because nobody used them, except when Odion wanted to make noodles. Their living room had become a Telemundo Telemundo shrine. Other parts of the house were covered in dust, but the flat screen TV was always clean and shining like an altar. At this point, Odio had accepted his fate. He lived with his wife Ese, but Ese lived with Alejandro, Isabella, Camila, and Ricardo. And then one day, Odio left the house for a quick job. But before he left, he called Ese. Ese, please, boil yam for me before I come back. Just yam and egg. I will be back by 1 p.m. Ese nodded without looking up from the screen. Yam, no wahala. It will be ready before you arrive. They have even finished season 3 yesterday. So, I have enough time today. But she was lying. A brand new Telemundo show had just started, titled The Gardener's Secrets. By 9 a.m., the first episode already had her shaking. This was going to be another banger. Alejandro, a rich man, was already in love with Isabella, the gardener's daughter. But Isabella had a scar from a fire she didn't remember, and the rich madam of the house was hiding something. Ese's mouth stayed open as she watched. This thing na movie. See love now. Nigerian men should come and learn, abeg. When she looked at the time, it was already 11:30 a.m. She finally stood up. Oh, let me just boil the yam quickly before Odio comes and starts shouting like Pedro. She dragged the yam from under the cupboard, peeled it on the sink, washed it, and quickly threw it into the pot. She added water, sprinkled some salt, and covered it. Then she put the pot on the gas cooker and lit it. Just as she turned to leave the kitchen, she heard something on the TV. Alejandro, I am pregnant, and it is not your child. Ese screamed and ran out. Jesus, wait first. She rushed back to the sitting room and sat down. Let me just watch the small parts while the yam boils, she told herself. But that was her mistake. She sat down and soon 1 minute became 5. 5 minutes became 20. Her eyes refused to blink and her mouth was hanging open. Isabella was crying. Alejandro was shouting. The rich madam slapped the gardener, and somewhere in the background, Ese's yam was burning for real. Ese sat on the edge of the chair with her eyes wide open. The rich madam was about to confront Alejandro about the pregnancy. Isabella was crying in the garden with a dramatic music playing in the background. Ese hugged a throw pillow tightly. Tell her, Alejandro, tell her that the baby is not yours. Meanwhile, outside the house, little Sheyi, Mama Sheyi's son, was playing with an old tire when he noticed smoke crawling out of the small kitchen window of Ese's house. Mommy, smoke is coming from Auntie Ese's kitchen, he shouted. What? Mama Sheyi rushed out of her sitting room. She ran to the window. Ese, fire is in your house, oh. Ese blinked and looked around. She sniffed the air and screamed, Ah, it's true, the yam. She jumped up and ran to the kitchen, but it was too late. The pot had dried up and the air smelled like burnt rubber. She grabbed the pot with a cloth and screamed again. Ah, how did this happen? She poured water into the pot. Shh! But the room became filled with even more smoke. By the time Odio opened the gates, he had already started perceiving something strange. He sniffed the air again. Why does this compound smell like burnt offering? He stepped into the house and saw Ese standing in the kitchen doorway, holding a spoon and scratching something stuck in a black pot. She turned and smiled. Welcome, my husband. Odio frowned. What is burning? Ese pointed at the pot. It is this yam, oh. He stepped closer. What kind of yam smells like charcoal? She looked into the pot. It is roasted yam. Odion blinked. You roasted yam in the pot? Essay nodded confidently. Yes, I decided to roast it in the pot so that the taste will enter inside very well. Odion was silent for 5 seconds. Essay, you burnt the yam, didn't you? Essay shrugged. Not really. I was just watching something important. The rich madam had found out about the secret. It is very serious, so. Odion shook his head. So you forgot the food again. He turned and walked out slowly. Where are you going? Essay asked. To buy noodles. It is the only thing in this house that cares for me. Essay looked at the pots again, then at the TV. Isabella was now hugging Alejandro in tears. She sighed sadly. At least their love did not burn. The next day, Odion's mother visited without calling. She entered and paused. This house smells funny. Essay came out still tying her wrapper. Good afternoon, mommy. Mama Odion narrowed her eyes. Where is my son? He went to work, ma. Mama Odion looked around the kitchen. She opened the pots and saw the remains of the roasted yam. She closed it slowly. Essay, when my son married you, I didn't know you came with Netflix and drama spirits. Essay tried to laugh. It is Telemundo, ma. Whatever it is, you better change. You think marriage is for acting? Odion called me yesterday. He said he's tired. How can a full man come back from work and be eating burned yam? Essay looked down. She continued, you better be warned. His patience can only last for a while. After the roasted yam incident and Mama Odion's unexpected visits, Essay tried to behave herself. She only tried, but not for long. One Sunday morning, the Women's Fellowship in church announced a cooking competition, and every married woman was encouraged to join. The prizes to be won included a microwave, cooking gas, and Essay's favorite, a branded apron. Essay signed up immediately. The group leader asked her, Essay, what would you be preparing? Essay smiled confidently. Spanish jollof rice. The woman blinked. She nodded. Yes, from Telemundo. Isabella made it for Alejandro before he proposed to her. On the day of the competition, Essay wore her best wrapper and tied her gele with flair. She arrived with a pot, rice, oil, and a bottle of red wine. The other women were confused when they saw the wine, but Essay bragged, yes, this wine is part of the flavor. Instead of tomato paste, she used blended watermelon, and instead of onions, she used garden egg. As the food cooked, she poured in the wine and said, this is the secret ingredient. Isabella did it in Heart of Fire. 20 minutes later, the aroma filled the air, but not in a good way. The rice was burning and bubbling like a volcano. When the pastor's wife tasted just one spoon, she began to cough uncontrollably. What is this, Essay? Essay smiled. It is Spanish cuisine, ma. Later that day, the women's leader called Odion aside. Please talk to your wife. At this rate, she might soon go mad. Odion went home that night and sat Essay down. Essay, I love you, but I can't keep living like this with you. You are embarrassing me and yourself. This is not funny anymore. Essay said nothing. She didn't realize the extent of her irresponsibility until one Tuesday afternoon. That day, Essay decided to multitask. She was watching the sections of the rich, washing clothes, and boiling beans all at once. And this time around, the house almost burned down. There were real fire in the kitchen, and neighbors had to come to the rescue. Odion got the call while working. Your house almost burned though, the neighbor told him. That night, Odio didn't shout. He just sat on the bed and said, I am moving out tomorrow. At least when you burn the house, you will bear the cost of the damages alone. Essie fell to her knees. Please, Odio, I will change. I will really change. I have learned my lesson. This one touched me deeply. Odio said nothing. He slept in silence for 2 days. Essie didn't touch the TV. She cleaned the house. She cooked. She even called her mother-in-law and apologized. Then she went from house to house in the compound, apologizing for the smoke, the noise, and the madness. She threw away her Telemundo DVDs and deleted those on her phone. However, she kept one last episode on her phone as a reminder. That day, Odio returned home and met hot egusi soup, pounded yam, and a clean house. He fell to his knees and said a prayer of thanksgiving. Weeks passed, and Essie now became a woman of balance. She still watched her Telemundo, but it was only after 8 p.m. when she had finished with her house duties. Finally, Odio and the neighbors could breathe in fresh air without getting choked from smoke. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. Give the story a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Thank you and remain blessed.